Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. The chat is popping out already. The 2024 best ball streets are heating up. And guess what, Stacy? We are here for it. Let's get it. Oh, yes. Welcome to Club Fantasy FFL and welcome to Masterclass, our newest show on the channel. Tonight, we are dipping our toes into the FFPC waters with a Superflex best ball tournament draft.
Woo!
Ooh.
Let's go. Let's do it.
As always, our co-host and professor, Stacy Perez at Stacy_Perez83 over there on Twitter. And as always, you can find me at FantasyJ77 on Twitter. Stacy, how are you tonight?
I am fantastic. Gator, I'm getting over a sinus infection, so I'm so sorry if my voice sounds terrible. I hope you all can hear me and understand me.
It cannot get any worse than this chat that is happening over in the FFPC draft room right now. Louis is going to have some issues drafting from what I'm understanding. We shall see. But Stacy, give us the details on this FFPC draft that we are doing tonight.
All right, guys. So this is the FFPC Superflex Best Ball Tournament. Okay, so basically what happens here is that it is a $35 entry. There are going to be a max entry of $150, and there's only 16,800 and change entries allowed. So this is a smaller tournament, but it's got a bigger prize. So I like to think of it as you're going to pay a little bit more, but you got a bigger bang for your buck over here. A little higher chance of coming away with some actual real hard cash. So $100,000 first place. Prices go all the way down to 78th place, which $500, which I will take that return on my investment any day of the week. What this is the top two teams from every single league will advance come playoff time, which is weeks 15 through 17. Every week, the top two advance. And then going into week 17, you've got 78 total that are going to be pounding each other out for the championship. That's probably a poor choice of words there, but considering what's going on in the chat there, I'm sure some of us can appreciate that. Louis, talking to you, kid. So anywho, guys, if you know, you know. If you're in the chat, you know.
Right.
If not, don't worry about it. But Gator, so this is a full point PPR, 20 rounds. You got 8 starters. You've got what does that mean? 12 on the bench. I don't do math, guys. I went to law school, not math school. 60-second clock, unlike Underdog, which is a 30-second clock. So if you've been used to playing on those Underdog drafts, you are gonna feel like you're on vacation here with all the time that you have to pick. Our draft starts in exactly 1 minute. It is going at a hard 9 o'clock. I am in the 3rd spot on the board tonight out of 12 because we have got like an absolute killer lineup in this draft tonight. And so big thanks to everybody who joined and appreciate all of you so much for coming in and drafting with us and filling this up. We have got Anne is in the chat. See there. What's up, Bob Hogan, Hammock Hogan coming on in the chat. From Kentucky Fantasy Football Hall of Fame over there, Bob Hogan. And, we got Louis G in here. We got April Balaskide. April, I am so sorry. I mess up your name every time I say it. Guys, like I said, we've got just a ton of people in here. As we keep, Sean is in here. There we go. We should all be on the stream. Sean, looking like the Brady Bunch. Sean, if we did that, there would be no room for the draft board, which is hopefully what everybody cares about.
What's crazy is that everybody that's in the draft is now joining us over here on the stream, which we absolutely appreciate. The problem with that is I'm hoping that the conversation from the draft room doesn't roll over and the draft is started. Yeah. Josh Allen going 1-1.
Or maybe it does. Who knows? Like it is 9 o'clock, so it's drafting after dark over here. So we don't have to worry about keeping it PG.
That's very true. That is very true. Well, Stacy, you're on the clock here. We got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. This is a super flex, so we are definitely going quarterback here, getting one of these top 3 quarterbacks. And if I have anything to say about it, it would be Jalen Hurts. But we can't take Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts just got taken.
Yeah, I just looked up and I said Jalen Hurts as I looked up and saw his name there. So here, what are we thinking here?
So I'm taking a look at my options, right? So I'm the third on the board here. So, it's a super flex, guys, right? So you're potentially more than likely every single week going to be starting two quarterbacks, unless God forbid you get like a bye week or something with both your quarterbacks on there. But what I'm actually looking at doing, here's what's left. Here's who's been taken: Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. I don't think this is out of order at all. What I'm about to do here. I'm gonna go CJ Stroud.
No, I don't hate that at all. Of course, we'd have to he'd have to stay healthy, of course.
Yep.
That's the other guy I was looking at, Lamar Jackson going
Jackson.
right there. We will try to keep up with the draft as it goes here, giving everybody their picks. But let's talk a little bit about the FFPC since you have a little bit of time between picks here.
Yes.
And how is this platform different from like the Underdog, the one that we've done over the past few weeks?
Yeah. So what's great about the FFPC is that they offer so many different kinds of drafts. Whether it's super high stakes, I mean, they've got some in there if you're a really badass drafter, you want to go draft for 10 grand and a buy-in, they've got something for you. If you want to do a $35 buy-in, they got something for you too. So they have price points for every single drafter. So love that so much. And like I said, any kind of draft you want to do, they have it here. You want to do a dynasty startup? Oh, I have one of those. I'm in here. I'm in it right now with my 365 guys, Tyler and Chris. If you want to do a redraft main event for a huge $1 million prize, they have that. If you want to do some best balls, they've got that too. They've got several tournaments. They've got standalone leagues. Really, like I said, anything that you can think of, FFPC has got it to draft. So love that about them. Also super fun too is not only do they offer the online drafts, right? They offer a live in-person draft in Vegas every year, beginning of the season. They do a great Thursday night watch party. There's drafts happening all throughout the weekend. That's over at Planet Hollywood. Happens every year. I met Louis there, our number one pick right there last year at the Vegas draft. Have met a ton of people there. Bob Hogan, always see him there in Vegas. So there's a lot of guys and ladies, that draft there and go to that event. It's like I said, it's just a great time. So always love a time where you can actually go and draft in person and just meet the people that you're talking to online all throughout the off season. So shout out to those of you who are drafting in Vegas this year. I'll be out there myself, getting a few teams. So hope to see all of you there.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best part is like even like the Scott Fishbowl, tournament going to the live draft. Like, you get to actually meet these people and face to face have legitimate conversations. Not that the conversations online aren't legitimate, but you actually get to meet them face to face, and then that friendship actually builds a little bit more because then they're not just the imaginary friends we have online. They become actual friends. They do exist. there is a bodily form to them.
People. So. Oh, Sean, same thing. Looking forward to seeing you in person this year as well. Yeah, TD Source, there you go. TD Source, I am not sure who you are, but I want to, it sounds like you go to Vegas too. So hopefully I'll get to meet you in September. Yeah, Thursday night watch party there is, it's so much fun. You're in this huge ballroom at this hotel. And you're just hanging out with everybody that has the same passion that you do for fantasy football. And like I said, total blast. And done in the chat loves FFPC. You know why? Because Ann is a baller. Okay, guys. Underdog has the badges. They get the stars over here, and Ann has one next to her name. And if you have a star at the FFPC, do you know what that means, Gator?
No, I'm hoping you were going to explain what the star is because it's not just her in this draft. There's a couple in this draft that have the star, and four out of the 12. And you're not one of those right now.
I'm not.
You're gonna have to get there.
I'm working towards it, though. I'm working towards it.
That's right. What does the star mean, though?
A star means that you have either one of two things. You have either won 3 prizes of over $1,000 each, or you have been in over 1,000 leagues entered. So either way, you know what you're doing if you've got that star. Tediosaurus, Sean, you and Sean co-manage a main event and a super bracket team. Main event is one of my favorite things. I got to draft my first one in person last year. and it didn't do as well as I hoped, but it was such a great experience.
Jamie saying, if Jamie, need to get rid of the if and say when I win $1 million, he'll donate a huge chunk to all of his favorite podcasters, and that includes you, Stacy.
Yes. Jamie,
He put us, but it's you. It's you. We all know why the people come. They don't come to listen to me ramble. They come to get the information, and the information comes from you.
oh my gosh. Jamie, listen, I'm just going to tell you, as a lawyer, that is an actual contract that you've just put out there. And we're going to hold you to it. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's a real contract or not. Probably not. I don't do contract law. So, oh man. So, like I said, guys, 60-second clock here. So it does take a little bit longer than like your quick 30-second clocks. But I mean, I think it gives you a little bit more time to be a little bit more thoughtful, about your pick and not feel as rushed.
Yeah, listen. We're doing best ball, so I don't want to get into the trades too much tonight. But yes, you did. Rasheed Rice for Jordan Addison.
Ooh, yeah. Bad news about Rasheed Rice, man. Man, his lawyers have just got to be, beside themselves at this point.
We gotta teach the kids the hard way, I guess. Or I don't know how that's supposed to be, but he's learning. He's gonna learn it the hard way, one way or the other.
That's a rant for another day, right, Gator?
Yeah, you brought this up at the very beginning. You're going to be coming up on the clock here, so I want to give everybody a quick heads up. Next week, next Wednesday, Stacy brought this up a little bit ago. So we're drafted tonight, not knowing the schedules, not knowing the bye weeks and that sort of thing. We will also draft again next Tuesday, not knowing the schedule with the bye weeks and that sort of thing. Or as we like to look at correlation at the end of the year, we will get these schedules will come out as of Wednesday next week per a memo sent out to each of the teams. Multiple sources have reported that. So hopefully that is going to happen. Stacy, you were on the clock. You're going to be wrapping around here. So I want to go through round one real quick. And this again, guys, I got to remind you, this is a super flex. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, first five off the board. Christian McCaffrey, Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray. I haven't seen Kyler Murray even in, Scott Fishbowl or even some startups mocks or anything like that go this high at QB7. Joe Burrow follows him. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson at 12 to wrap up the first round. Wrapping around at the 2-1, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Dak Prescott, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jordan Love coming off as QB 10, I believe it is. Yeah, QB 10. Puka Nacua, Breece Hall, A.J. Brown, Tua Tagovailoa. Stacy, you go with Sam Laporta. Get your guy. Love it. Caleb Williams, and then Jaden Daniels to round out the second round there. QB 12 and 13, I believe it is going to be the rookies, first two rookies off the board there. And we'll talk about round three as we come back around here. You are on the clock taking Brock Purdy right there. Talk through your process as you have CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, and Sam Laporta right now on your team.
Man, okay. So, as I was kind of thinking about tonight, how are we going to attack the super flex? This is the first super flex draft I've done this year, right? And I'll just be totally straight with you guys. I don't do a ton of super flex best balls. Most of mine are going to be 1 QBs. So I'm thinking through this and I'm thinking, like just with anything, look, when you draft more, when you go really kind of top heavy, at one position, it's going to be to the detriment of the other positions, right? So when you're taken, with your first couple picks, you're using a lot of that draft capital on 2 quarterbacks, you're going to have a little bit, fewer options when you get to, wide receiver, running back, tight end. But keep in mind too that this particular draft is a tight end premium. FFPC, scoring rules are tight end premium. So I'm going to get 1.5 points per reception for those tight ends. I love Sam Laporta. If I can go grab one of the top elite tight ends, I'm going to do it, because once they get to a certain point, it's probably not going to matter as much who you have in that regard. So I'm going to take CJ Stroud there. I saw my chance to get Sam Laporta. I really didn't see him lasting around the corner, around the turn there to get back to me. And when I took a look at the quarterbacks that I was going to have, to grab after that, I thought, I think I can take Brock Purdy in the third round. And if I don't get him, I feel like there's still some value with a lot of those quarterbacks that are going to be, towards the end, towards your mid rounds, the guys that are going to be left over, right? But you always have to take what the draft gives you. And this draft obviously is valuing quarterback right now. I mean, Gator, how many quarterbacks are off the board at this point?
14, 15, 16, I believe it is.
Exactly.
And ironically, two teams at the end, team 11 and 12 there, do not have a quarterback, and we still have 16 quarterbacks off the board.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if we got 16 quarterbacks off the board, everybody needs at least two. You're obviously going to be drafting more than two. So we're talking about 24, your top 24 quarterbacks. We're almost through that, and we're just now wrapping the third round.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple surprises to me. To answer your question though, or what your thought process is, I don't know if Sam Laporta would have got back to you wrapping around. So. He may have, but I can promise you, when you look at the next round and you see Travis Kelce, Trey McBride, and Dalton Kincaid come off the board, he would not have made it back to you into the fourth round. That's an absolute for sure. Now, quick question on the tight ends. With this being tight end premium, you can also use your tight ends into a flex position here as well.
Yes, absolutely, you can. So you're going to be starting, let me find it here. You're going to be starting one quarterback, two running back, two receiver, one tight end, and two flex. Obviously, one of those flex is probably going to be your second quarterback. So potentially you could be starting up to 3 tight ends if you really wanted to build your team that way. So let's say you were on the turn. What if you went back-to-back quarterback or back-to-back tight ends? I don't know that I'd really have an issue with that in a draft like this, especially if you're getting 2 of the studs. You could build your team that way, and I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be successful as long as everybody stays healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to bring up a team real quick. Team 5 is already built, and I just glancing at the board here, there may be another one I just haven't looked at yet. Oh, there is. So you've got Team 5 with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and then turn around at Team 8, Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, building those stacks through the tight end position. And the reason I bring those two up right away, seeing that is in this format, with it being best ball, and of course the tight end premium, how beneficial is it to stacking? We've talked about stacking and what that does in best ball as a whole, but what does it do in this format when it's, again, tight end premium and a super flex?
Yeah, I mean, it's still important, especially when you're talking about a tournament. If this was a standalone draft, it'd be a whole different story. But in a big tournament like this, you want to stack, you want to maximize the points you can get out of that offense. So, look at that. Kirk Cousins going in the 4th. That is an absolute steal. I love the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott stack here for Bob, what he's got going on. I think that's fantastic to maximize the points there, especially Gang Green. That's Sean with Kyler Murray, Tyler McBride, Trey McBride. I mean, those are going to be 2 pretty high-powered offenses. So I don't know why you wouldn't, try to get as many of those elite guys that you can from that offense. If you've got the receiver, you're expecting him to be catching a ton of balls from Dak Prescott, right? If you've got CeeDee Lamb, so why not go get Dak Prescott?
Yeah, I'm loving some of these builds, some of and again, it's best ball, so you got to take some chances here and there. But like you said, Kirk Cousins just came off the board in round 4 as QB 18.
Yeah.
So again, we still have no regrets at the end there. Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, just hammering the running back position right off the bat.
I like No Regrets as a team name. As somebody pointed out, TD Soros just pointed out in the chat, Team 12 over here says F them QBs. They have gone with a 3 running back build and Justin Jefferson. So they've got Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley. Dude, if you're going to go 3 running back, those are 3 I would like to have.
There is nothing wrong with going three running back and getting those 3.
Yeah.
That's you're starting 2 of them. You're starting 2 of them and then putting 1 in your flex right there.
Yes.
So I have no idea or no problems with that. Charlene says she is getting sniped on both sides.
Get ready. That's how this draft is going to be. I'm telling you, we got at least 4 pros here with our stars. And there are other people in here who don't have stars who absolutely should have them for the level of experience they have. So this is not an easy draft at all.
I believe after this year, there will be a few more stars in this room
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes down to it. So you are on the clock here. I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button over here on YouTube. We are, Stacy, we are like 60 away from hitting that 1,000 mark.
No way.
So yeah, we've made a big push. Everybody in the chat here, on Twitter, everybody is loving the content that we're putting out. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy bringing the different styles to you. Bringing a bunch of mock drafts, bringing a bunch of the best ball drafts to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they are loving it. So, which team is Charlene? Charlene is Team
Sweating
9,
glitter.
Sweat and
Yeah.
Glitters.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to. Sean wanted to know that the answer to that right there. So,
Oh yeah.
and Anne, if I'm not mistaken, is Team. Where is
Anne is
she
right
at?
after me. She's number 4.
4.
Rowdy's
Okay,
Rebels.
Rowdy's Rebels.
Yeah.
We were going through all the different team names before the show, and a couple of them I remembered right away. Like I know Charlene's Sweat and Glitters is everything for on Sleeper as well. So I know that one. And Bob is which one is Bob? Bob is at 10.
He's Hooterville Arnold's. Yep.
Yep, at 10, sitting there with CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott built an offensive juggernaut stack right there.
Right.
Drake London and Chris Olave liking that build as well.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you last 2 picks, Nico Collins, which you've been all in on Nico Collins for.
Love you.
Yep, and then Josh Jacobs getting your first quarterback here. So you got C.J. Stroud, Sam Laporta, Brock Purdy, Nico Collins, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for me, huh?
It is quite a bit different for you, and I don't hate it because now, okay, I'm glad you said that because with this being FFPC, we've talked about being different with your builds.
Yes.
Through like Underdog and doing, the big tournaments. If you're going to jump into multiple tournaments, be different. Don't build the exact same, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of the same thought process here, right? Because there's 150 entries max to this particular tournament.
Exactly.
So if you're going to build multiple teams, you want to build them different. Is this your first entry into this particular tournament?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my first one into this tournament. If I'm right, it did just drop right after the draft. So you do want to be a little bit different here. And keep in mind too, this is not like a 3 receiver start. So I wouldn't be going as heavy, receiver as I normally do. This is a 2 receiver start. And then with your flexes, you can be a little bit different, like we just talked about, with potentially, throwing in some more tight ends. Like Team 5 is done here with the stack, with not stack, but with the, doubling up there with Kelsey and Ingram. And then what Team 9 did too with the Kincaid and Andrews. I mean, like that's great. Like what a fun build with these 2 teams. I'm looking at here, you can do so many different things when they are, when you've got a little bit different of a roster requirement. Oh, sorry. And we're just going to have to do a different one after this when nobody knows what our strategy is.
Who was it? Was it? I think it was Louis that you had told me. They also they do their analytics. Their analytics are for dummies podcast. And a couple, was it last week? You and I were drafting on a best ball mania with them, and it's kind of funny because as they're saying it, we're drafting. Kind of a thing, and we are sniping them. They're sniping us, but they keep bringing it. That's the problem with doing some of these. Is as we're saying it, it's somebody else is grabbing that person or whatnot, or we're saying it right before somebody picks, and then we get this.
Oh,
yeah, but it makes it absolutely makes it fun because
it totally does.
The other side of that too is just like if you were drafting for a redraft or a dynasty startup or anything like that. You're going to get sniped in these, whether it's being, put on YouTube or whether you're just doing it as normal, and you have to be, as they say, be water.
Yes.
And be able to, this just makes it a little bit more challenging because you're like, oh yes, this is my thought process. And then Stacy says, and you're like, oh, sheesh. She said that out loud.
See, Gator, we have got so many smart, intelligent, thoughtful drafters that are listening and that are drafting with us. So I'm not surprised at all that we are all kind of thinking the same way. Like there are some sharks out here,
Mhm.
especially like I said in this draft. Like there are definitely sharks out here, and we put it out there, want everybody to draft with us, and then we get what we wish for, right?
And that's the problem is we allow these people to come and hang out with us, and then we get yelled at because we're sniping them, or they snipe us, and then we want to know why. Well, it's our dumbasses that invited them, right?
Well, you know what I have learned to appreciate very much in drafting in places like in the FFPC and over in Kentucky at the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship is that you've got such good competition in those particular formats and in other ones as well. But I just speaking from my experience, and in those particular ones that like you're drafting with people that are going to make you a better drafter,
Yes.
right? So when you're consistently drafting with people that are highly competitive, that know what they're doing and are just like I said, smart, thoughtful, considerate drafters and putting a lot of thought process into their builds and how they're drafting, like it just makes you step your game up. And I feel like honestly, like it has made me a better drafter over the years, drafting with everybody who's in here. I've drafted with these guys for years, especially Bob, just I think it just really kind of raises your competition.
Yes, absolutely. And I enjoy the drafting with, you know,
Mhm.
however you want to classify it, whether you feel like it's, higher end competition, sharks, whatever. Because even if you draft the way you want to draft going into it, pay attention to what they're doing
Yeah,
because you can learn even without
mhm,
speaking to them. Watch how they build their teams, watch
exactly.
where certain players are falling, that sort of thing, and you will pick up on tendencies, and you will pick up on tricks of the trade to sort of thing. Let me run through this round three. You're coming up on the clock here, so I'm going to run through round 3, 4, and possibly 5 by the time you get out of your second pick. Round three, we had Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Purdy, Jahmyr Gibbs, Travis Kelce, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Drake London, Trevor Lawrence, and then Jonathan Taylor to wrap out to knock out the third round. Starting in the fourth round, Saquon Barkley, Kirk Cousins, Chris Olave, Mark Andrews, Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford, Devon Achane, Travis Etienne, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Kyron Williams to wrap out the fourth. Starting in the fifth, we had Derrick Henry, Kyle Pitts, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Waddle, Evan Ingram, DJ Moore. Keep an eye on DJ Moore. I think he's going to be
That's
he'll
right.
go high. He'll go higher in drafts as the summer comes along here. Michael Pittman, Isaiah Pacheco, Joe Mixon, Rashad White, James Cook, Devontae Smith. That ends the fifth round. Stacy, you just took
Yeah,
another tight end, which I like, giving you a stack there with your tight end,
a
and
little weird,
we'll
but
talk about him in just a minute. But does anything stand out to you right now out of those top five rounds?
out of the top 5 rounds, I'm just looking at everybody else's builds. Like, everybody is just about everybody's doing something a little bit different,
Hmm.
and I'm, like, loving it. I'm kinda trying to track, all right, who's got 3 quarterbacks? Who should be just about done? I was thinking about taking Baker Mayfield there. If he had fallen, I would have taken him instead of Kittle at that point because 'cause I'm looking at the quarterbacks that are left in Gator. It ain't pretty.
Nah,
So trying to decide, okay, at this point, like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna, maybe go for value at some other positions? There's a lot of high value players that are still left here. And
as you're on the clock right now,
I
so
am. I got 60 seconds though, Gator. I can
I
still
know
I can
that's what I wanted you to do was
yeah.
talk through your pick here as you're looking at this.
So I'm taking a look at this and see because I don't like the quarterbacks they're available for me right now. So I don't want to feel pressured into looking at the board and thinking, oh my God, there's only a couple starters left. I just have to take somebody right now at the expense of missing value with somebody else at a different position. You're looking at some running backs, you're looking at still some of the tight ends. Well, I'm not anymore because I'm good with my two, but just in general, looking at the board and who's still available, there's a lot better players that are available at other positions than there are for your 12 seconds. Oh, hang on.
I knew it was coming. I was trying to count that 60 in my head.
Oh, thank God I got it off. Woo! There we go. Was definitely wanting to go with a receiver there. So I grabbed Zay Flowers. Man, that 60 seconds went a lot quicker than than I thought that it
I
would.
know. Gator, we got 60 seconds. I'm good.
I can just run
Oops.
my mouth the whole time. Wrong, wrong. So now that I've picked, I'll go ahead and tell you. So with the quarterbacks here that I'm looking at, Deshaun Watson, Will Levis, Derek Carr, Geno Smith, none of those guys is really, floating my boat. So I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking that Zay Flowers is probably a more valuable pick than somebody like Will Levis, right? So yeah.
Probably. I mean,
Probably so,
we
especially when
just,
I've got 2 already. If I was only at 1 quarterback, I would be in trouble,
yeah.
but I'm not, so
Yeah. While this is, past your pick here, and we got a little bit of time before we got
not
to
a
start talking about particular picks here, I want to talk a little bit more about the FFPC. And
yes.
in this particular draft, one of the things that I noticed was it said slim.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is? I know we've got some new viewers and new listeners to
Mhm.
the FFPC, so I kind of want to give them all the information so when they go into these FFPC drafts, they know what they're looking at without having to click on it, hover over it, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So what a slim draft is that you're not drafting a kicker or a defense. And if you've been drafting in like Underdog and some other places that never draft those, you're like, well, yeah, of course. Why would we draft kicker or defenses? But there's a lot of leagues that still play with that format. So FFPC offers both options. So if you're really into drafting kickers, you can do that. And I'm sure we'll do a draft here at some point where we'll end up drafting a kicker. But that is
Wait, wait,
not
wait,
something.
wait, wait, wait. You can do best ball with kickers and
Oh
defense.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. There is, and we'll see if we can get the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship that Bob and I draft in, has they call it a draft master, which is kind of the old school name for best ball. It's 28 rounds. 28 rounds. And that includes kickers and defenses, and their scoring system rates defenses pretty high. So you'll see, your top defenses go early, like 13th round or so, which is just crazy for all of us that don't normally draft, kicker defense. But that's the fun about these kind of things is that you can get out there, you can draft all sorts of different kind of teams on different formats, and that's kind of the purpose of our show too, is to show you guys what's out there, so you can try out different things.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
crazy, right?
super, yeah, super interesting that kickers and defenses in best ball.
I know, I know.
I
Like
know that it's
you
gotta
you
have
think
been that way for a long time, right?
and it's wild. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was the first one. My first best ball I ever did was a 28 round draft master live in Louisville at the Kentucky draft. I had no idea what I was doing. And I gotta tell you, once it gets to round 28, you're kind of wondering, like, is this guy even still on an NFL roster? I have no idea.
You're
So you gotta
drafting
make sure you've got a pretty deep cheat sheet.
yeah, you're drafting players like Tom Brady and and Gronk, and you're like, "Okay, maybe there's a chance," right?
I gotta tell you, more than once, there was a Kyle Juszczyk on my team. So, shout out to the fullbacks.
There you
But
go.
yeah.
Just need that 1 week, right?
Oh, just the one. Just the one.
See if we
Crazy.
see if I can get through round 6 and 7 here. We had Malik Neighbors, Cooper Cup, George Kittle, Jake Ferguson, Baker Mayfield, Stephon Diggs. Wait, I'm going the wrong way here. Sorry about that. DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers, Kenneth Walker, Debo Samuel, David Njoku, Brock Bowers, Stephon Diggs, Baker Mayfield, Jake Ferguson, George Kittle, Cooper Cup, Malik Neighbors to round out 6. Going through 7. Round 7 started with George Pickens, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, JJ McCarthy. That's his third quarterback for Team 6 there, which is, I guess that's not too bad in the 7th round. May have been some other values for me, and at least you still got to have some
Mhm.
kind of running back room, especially in this format where you got to start 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
Geno Smith, Bryce Young, Amari Cooper, Dallas Goedert, Deshaun Watson, rounding out the 7th round. Again, this is a 18 round draft. Is that correct?
20.
This is a 20 round draft. Oh, so we're not even halfway through.
No. Mm-mm.
And we've already got what, 2 teams? Is it 2 teams? 1, 2, 2 teams that have their third quarterback.
Yep.
and one of them doesn't even have a running back, which is, again, like we said, an interesting way to do it.
So team number two going hard with the zero RB build 100% there. They got Kyle Pitts though, so that's quite the group there of receivers. They've got Harrison, Evans, Pitts, Cooper Kupp, and my beloved Tank Dell. Feel better, Tank. Hope you get well soon.
Okay, real quick pause. I just want to go back to this. Robert is having tornado sirens go off.
Yes.
And he says that one of them looks like one of them is just north of him, 3 miles north of him. Another one still west of him. He says it makes focusing on picks a little challenging. Well, Robert, here's what I will tell you. You don't have to focus. You need to worry about the family first and yourself. We'll handle the draft, and there's auto picks for that. Just cool.
Yes.
But no, seriously, in all seriousness, take care of keep an eye on that weather. That is the more important thing for sure.
Listen, Bob's going to win this draft, and it's going to be like, I drafted in the middle of a tornado and still beat all of you. That's what's going to happen.
No bragging rights, though.
Oh, no. Someone took Will Levis. What am I going to do? Oh, none of those options are great.
Was that Ann that did that to you?
It was Ann.
Yeah.
Damn it, Ann. That's okay. It'll just give me an excuse to take one of my favorite receivers, so that's fine. And to be a little bit of a homer.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he should change his team name.
There you go. I was gonna say it's a tornado, not a hurricane. So you could be Hurricane Hogan. If unfortunately, but it's tornado. We're gonna have to come up with a different name for you.
Yep. And Ann is sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
For the Will Levis.
Ann's gonna make me take somebody like I don't know.
I don't know how obvious that was, Sean, but yes, the answer is yes.
Go Pack Go. Go Pack Go, Sean. Kind of we were taking like Sam Darnold or something like that. Good grief. That's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Again,
look, it's also only have 2 QBs right now.
It's Superflex.
Mm-hmm.
But Superflex doesn't always mean you have to put a quarterback there, right. especially with it being tight end premium. And there's still, some of that mid-range tight end out there.
Did Louis just go auto draft? Louis, are you busy?
Oh, focus on the draft, buddy. Lord.
Focus on the draft, buddy.
He picked pretty quick, so I don't know.
I'll leave that alone. Oh goodness. Oh man. Oh, I think he'll be here if I do something else. I am gonna go grab a second running back here because there's a receiver that I want. And hopefully he's still gonna be there when it comes back around me. But Gator, I just realized I took Zamir White as my second running back here, and I also have Josh Jacobs. So that's pretty funny. Now that they're on,
you have a type, huh?
Apparently, I have a type.
Yes,
like Raiders and former Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders and former Raiders. Sean says he didn't know you were a Pack fan. He really thought Reed was gonna slide back to him.
Not on my watch, buddy. Not on my watch.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised at this pick, Stacy, that you went Zamir White and not like a DeAndre Swift, who went 2 picks after you.
I'm pretty high on Zamir White this year. I just think it's finally his time, right? He's the guy there. They really didn't do too much in the draft, so he kind of escaped a little bit unscathed with not too much competition there. I mean, Alexander Madison's there. Not concerned about Alexander Madison. Yeah, so I kind of like that. I don't know what they're a little bit of an odd team, right? I mean, they didn't really help themselves out too much at quarterback either, so they're riding with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So I expect that Zamir White should see some volume, and he's my RB2, which, I mean, I think we can all agree is probably the least valuable position in any one of these drafts, right? So I feel okay with going Zamir White there. I'll fill in some holes a little bit later, but I'm happy with that pick. I think that will, and hopefully it works out for me, right? But I kind of like him in this spot going with these guys like a Swift, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Ramondre, kind of that range. If you've waited for a little while, he's one that I kind of like to take there.
Yeah, I'm probably 10 or 15 best balls and my highest exposed player is Najee Harris. I am just absolutely in love with the position that Najee Harris is in this year, and I'm surprised that he's still going in the 9th round, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
another player that I was going to bring up along with DeAndre Swift there, but he was still on the board. I didn't want to put it out there, and before he went off the board and then get yelled at by somebody like Ann or Sean or I do want to go back a little bit though and look at your 2nd round pick where you went and got Sam Laporta.
Yes.
And how much of a difference does it make in roster constructions when you can get one of those elite tight ends?
Yeah. So I mean, if you can go get an elite tight end, especially in tight end premium format, like absolutely go do it. Kind of like what we talked about. There's potential here for you to start 3 tight ends. If all 3 of your guys have a big week, you've got tight end and then you've got 2 flex spots. Maybe you waited a little bit on quarterback. You've got a guy that maybe is not going to put up a ton of points. Maybe for some reason, we don't have the schedule yet. So maybe you get really unlucky and it's all just like, all 3 of your guys are on bye weeks. Who knows? Could happen, right? Crazier
Yep.
things, I'm sure.
That's part of the chance you take whenever you're drafting in any format, prior to the 'cause I mean, even in Dynasty, you have your team that you've had for 4 years, and then the schedule comes out this year, and both of your quarterbacks, 3 of your quarterbacks are all on
Yeah,
bye in the same week. So it's just it
absolutely.
is the nature of the beast.
Well, and there's a couple different ways to, like how you talk about like balance and figure out balancing your lineup and your draft. And it really just depends on your draft position. If you have an earlier position like I do, like I'm in 3 spot over here, you've got your pick of those elite QBs right off the bat. If you're down towards the end of the draft in the 11, 12 spot, those elite dudes are going to be gone by the time that it turns, it gets to you. So maybe you just go ham in a different position. Maybe you go crazy at tight end. Maybe you go crazy with the receivers. Do something like that. You could take a quarterback later, just like Team 12 is doing here. They've got Deshaun Watson and now Drake May. So, you can do things like that. You always have to take what the draft gives you. If the room is prioritizing quarterback, which is what ours kind of did, go in at other positions. Don't get pulled into a chase. Don't get the FOMO. Don't think, oh my God, I have to take, somebody right now. Team 11, I swear, I cannot believe that you took Lab McConkey because that's exactly who I was talking about, thinking, oh, I'm sure he'll be there when it comes around to my turn. I am learning more and more that if the minute that you think I can get Lad McConkey in the next round, forget it. He's going in the round that you just passed him on. So sidebar over there about my Lad McConkey chat that Keith Fleming would be proud about. But I mean, it's just kind of you have, like I said, take what the draft gives you. Don't reach, don't, get pulled into feeling like I have to do something because that's what everybody else is doing right now. Like build your team the way you want to do it. Make sure that what you're doing and where you're picking, you've got the value there. And you're taking the best available player. You're not just, saying, oh my God, I've got to take something right now. It's a super flex. I have to take another quarterback here. What if that quarterback sucks? Like take him in the later rounds, that's okay. You can wait, you know?
Yeah, and Charlene says, if Lad didn't go there,
Would have taken
she
him.
would have taken him, so you wouldn't have got him anyway. And then this statement by Sean is so true. This goes for any draft that you ever have
Yes.
done when you're scrolling through the draft board, going, okay, let's kind of put people in my queue. And as soon as you look at somebody and you're like, why did I just put him in the queue? Where'd he go? Look at the board because he's gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It is so
Immediately.
true.
Immediately gone. Just forget it. Oh, I'm on the clock now.
That's fine. I'm going to read through this draft board going round 8, excuse me, round 8 and 9 here and try to get through 10 by the time
Yeah.
we get there. So round 8 started off with Kirk Cousins, Ramondre Stevenson, Derek Carr, James Conner, Keenan Allen, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz, T. Higgins, Will Levis, Jaden Reed rather, Terry McLaurin, Daniel Jones, finishing out the round 8. Round 9 starts with Marquise Brown, Roma Dunze, Zamir White, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, Pat Freiermuth, Jonathan Brooks, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, Luke Musgrave, which I really like that player this year in the situation up there in Green Bay as well. Brian Thomas, Drake May is finishing out round 9. Starting in round 10 went Jalen Warren, Ladd McConkey, which we just talked about, Xavier Worthy, Deontay Johnson, which, as I'm looking at Charlene's build here, I'm really starting to like what she's doing, getting the 2 early, what could possibly be stud tight ends.
Yeah.
Right? Got Joe Mixon, James Conner, and then Javonte Williams. So maybe a little, have a little patience with Javonte Williams, but Joe Mixon, James Conner probably cemented at least for the first half of the year in their roles. But then her wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, and then Deontay Johnson, which 3 rounds ago, she just got her second quarterback being Bryce Young. So now she built that stack and built it late. So it is possible to still get stacks late with a quarterback that even I was out completely on Bryce Young last year. I'm slowly getting there this year. I'm in a lot more than I was last year, of course, because of the situation and what's being built there. So I think what she's building her team to be now is going to be it's starting to come to fruition. And again, it's only round 10, still got a whole another 10 rounds in this draft. But after Deontay Johnson, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we got a whole nother draft left, Gator.
Yeah, we still got a whole draft left. After Deontay Johnson, Christian Watson, Raheem Mostert, Jordan Addison, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, Trey Benson, Austin Eckler, and then JSN dropping in a lot of drafts. But don't be surprised if if JSN actually does something a little bit more this year than he did in his rookie season. But JSN ends the 10th round. We are now about halfway through or so of the 11th round. How are you feeling about your team right now with CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Sam Laporta, George Kittle, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, and then you just got K-Dot in there too. I like that pick as well. And then your running backs are Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, and Trey Benson.
Yeah. So I like my team so far. April, Gardner Minshew was supposed to last till the next round, and I could grab him later. He was not supposed to go in the 11th. So, Gator, honestly, I don't know. We'll see. We're going to have to get creative here with our third QB. Or triple Raider stack. That's hilarious there with Bowers and oh, I love it. Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, so I like my team. It's definitely different than what I normally do, and I always find that happening with super flexes, because it's so different than anything else that you're doing, and I always find super flexes almost to me seem like every single one seems way more different. I find those harder to predict. I don't know, Gator, do you feel that way too? Like, I just always, like, it never feels like there's just never like two that are the same for me.
No, they're you could pick from the same position just about, and it's going to change just about every single draft. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So for me, going into the 11th round here, going into 12 now, with only 3 wide receivers, I don't even know what to do here with myself.
Yeah, because like you said, 99% of your builds are wide receiver heavy.
They are. But in this, the receivers are going later. You still have a ton of value, even going into the 12th round. Whereas, if this were a 3 wide receiver, format, gosh, you'd be scraping at the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Which team outside of yours, and we just talked about Charlene's team a second ago, or I did at least. Which team outside of yours through these first 10 rounds are you really liking their build?
I really do I like Charlene's team there. I like those 2 back-to-back guys. I really like team 5 too with the Kelsey Ingram. They waited a little bit on receiver, but look, they've got AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin. Those guys are studs, and they've got a really nice build there. Baker, Patrick Mahomes, Devon HAN or whatever, Aaron Jones there, and they've got great running backs as well. So I like what they've done there. I feel like they've gotten value in every one of their picks, and it doesn't seem like they've had to reach it all.
And I do like, again, what No Regrets is doing at the end now, just picking up his 3rd quarterback with Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm,
but he also But now he's sitting there with what, 5 running backs
Yeah.
and no tight end now. In a
There's
tight end
not too many
premium
too
in a
many
tight
tight
end
ends.
premium league.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a choice, I guess, right?
It is. So you're getting that little extra bump right there. So that 0.5, actually you're getting 1.5 points per reception for your tight end. So I think in situations like this, if you haven't been able to get one of those top guys, one of those elite guys that are going to be putting up mega points, getting a ton of targets every single week, tight end gets a little sketchy, right? I mean, some of these guys you have no idea, like our Dalton Schultz, our Pat Fryermuth, Cole Kmet, even Musgrave, even Dallas Goedert to a certain extent. These guys, there was only, I want to say, about 5 or so tight ends that averaged 10 or more, PPR points per game last year. So if you can't get one of those guys, you know what? Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe you go and get, better position players at different, your receivers and your running backs. And maybe you just forego that there, which is kind of, I think, what Team 12 is doing. So, I don't hate it. It's not, like it's just a different build. So tight end premium doesn't mean that you have to go get those tight ends. It just means that's another way that you can get points, in it. So, it doesn't mean that you got to get them or your team's absolute trash. That doesn't mean that at all. So I think 1 and 12 actually don't have any tight ends.
Oh yeah, just noticing that. Yeah,
Mhm.
yep, you are correct there.
Yeah.
Jason Snyder popping into the chat. What's going
What's up,
on, my
Jason?
guy? That is the that
Nothing
go
out.
check him out on Twitter. He is a solid dude to be checking in with us. I appreciate that, Jason.
Yep.
I do want to point this out because Ann does point it out in the chat that
Yes.
the Russell Wilson and Ezekiel Elliott pick were auto picks.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if he's got a Q set. I'm assuming he does because again, this is a 60-second clock.
Yeah.
And they were picked. That Elliott pick was directly after the Russell Wilson. And I guess that's why I didn't quite notice that it was an auto pick right away. Charlene says she was sniped again. And then Robert says he's building a big tight end room himself with a bunch of Jag players.
There you go. Just a guys.
Just the guy.
Just a guy.
Look at
I mean,
Jason pops in and the chat
I
goes crazy. That's my guy
mean,
right there.
once you get to kind of, some of these tight ends where they're either going to be like the second tight end on the team or, something like that. I mean, that's Bob's right. I mean, like those are kind of just a guy, just a guy filling in that roster spot for you. So, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Um, and it looks like, yeah, I'm just watching team 1 over here. Oh, still no tight end. Oh my
Still
goodness.
no tight end. Nope. But getting Khalil Shakir in the 13th round seems like a little bit of theft as well. I mean, I'm not quite sure looking at the board what wide receiver that's taking him off the board, whether that's looks like somewhere in the range of 20, 25, somewhere in that range.
Mhm.
Think he's going to be more valuable during the season with Khalil Shakir.
I think so. I like Khalil Shakir there. Kind of one of those field stretcher guys. It was either going to be him or Gabe Dave, for the Bills, getting down the field, getting open. And Gabe Dave's gone. So I like Shakir. He's been there for a while. He knows that offense. Boomer best guy, which is what you like in best ball.
Yeah, which is exactly what you did the last 2 picks here with Jamison Williams and Devontae, or is it Devontaez?
Dontavian away.
Dontavian Wicks,
Give me a
who
little homer pick here. Get my
popped on the scene last year
That's right.
for a couple of games, and truly a huge, what I would say, huge best ball guy.
Oh, totally. Huge best ball guy. I mean, honestly, like all the Packer receivers for me, I enjoy taking them more in best ball this year than I probably will in a redraft. Sean, you're right. If we could make trades in this, we absolutely would. We would trade Love for Purdy and then call it a day. That's the only thing missing from my team here. We got Jacobs, Reed, and Dontavian. So, but thing that's a little different about the FFPC Gator is that you can't do trades. So there is no trading unless obviously you're in a dynasty league, and then that's different. But yeah, no trades here. So yeah. I just, Jameson Williams got him there to go with Laporta. Not necessarily a stack per se, but guys on high powered offense that you should be scoring a lot, getting a lot of opportunities to get points. So you gotta love that.
Yeah, I don't hate how you're building it. That's
It's weird,
I
right?
haven't
It
even didn't
feels
even
so weird. It feels
it
so
does.
weird.
It does, but weird is good, right? Weird
Yeah,
is good, especially in best ball.
you gotta get out of your comfort zone.
Yes. Jason says Mike Williams continues to feel like a tremendous value too. Former second tier wide receiver paired with Aaron Rodgers in the 12th.
I
Loves it.
love Mike Williams. What really just concerns me so much is that horrible turf at MetLife Stadium. That's what worries me about poor Mike Williams.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. And that's 8 games.
Yeah.
8 games there, and then they're going to probably play another 2 or 3 on somebody else's turf. So, but yeah, the actual turf itself at MetLife is.
Don't love it. Don't love it.
Let me run through the round 11 and 12 here. We had Devin Singletary, Justin Fields, third quarterback for Team 2, Kate Otten, Jatavian Sanders, Chris Godwin, Zach Moss, Gardner Minshew, Brian Robinson Jr., Blake Corum, Tyler Conklin, Tajay Spears, which keep an eye on Tajay Spears. I think that's going to be a sneaky one there in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Russell Wilson, Ezekiel Elliott. I'm sorry, Russell Wilson to end out the 11th round. 12th round, starting with the new RB1 back in Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott, Keon Coleman, Hunter Henry, Cortland Sutton, Gus the Bus Edwards, Romeo Dobbs, DeAndre Hopkins, Bo Nix, third quarterback for Team 5 there. I think that's gonna might be a sneaky play as well. Curtis Samuel, Jameson Williams, Nick Chubb going this late seems criminal. I know he's coming off of a horrific injury, but it still seems criminal. Mike Williams, like we just talked about. The 13th round goes Khalil Shakir, Zach Charbonnet, Dontavian Wicks, Adonai Mitchell, Tyler Lockett, another guy that just seems like a steal in the 13th round, just consistent. Rashid Rice, but hopefully there won't be any cameras on the field. That'd be fine. Jawan Johnson,
if he's
Noah
on the
Fant, if he's on the field. Well, yeah, that's true. Jerome Ford, Chase Brown, Isaiah Likely, and then Jahan Dotson. Just somebody that just continues to fall down the board. There in Washington. Surprise, surprise, I guess.
I really can't quit Jahan Dotson. Like, I was so on Jahan Dotson last year. Like, I am for certain I took him in the 4th round of a draft somewhere last year, and obviously that was to my detriment. But I just think this year, I don't know. I mean, he's talented, right? And he's going to be on the field. He's the number 2 there. So I just don't see how he could have another terrible year. I feel like he's due for a bounce back.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
This is a question that I have that I keep asking myself here. I just brought up Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
At what point are you expecting him to get back and be a reliable contributor? Or is it basically a wash this year and he's probably done if he doesn't play or if he doesn't contribute till later? If he contributes at all late in the season, maybe. But it's going to be hard to overcome that injury. And I know you are on the clock right now, so
I am, and I swear to you, Anne, as soon as I looked up and saw that you had Jake Ferguson, I was like, "Oh, is she gonna go after Rico Dowdle?" And yeah, you sure did. Damn it, Anne. Sorry. All right, let's figure out what we're gonna do for running back now. Yikes. Gator, this is not great here. This is not looking good.
No.
How much time do I have?
Looks like about 20 seconds.
Okay. All right. Oof. Well. All right. Let's just keep it in the NFC North.
Okay.
You don't like that? You don't like Ty Chandler? Oh, you don't like Ty Chandler?
I'm not a. Aaron Jones is there.
Yeah. Aaron Jones ain't gonna be on the field all day, baby. I know that for sure. I saw enough of that last year.
I would have. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge Ty Chandler. Go ahead.
I'm not either, but let me tell you. So I had in my queue the last three, this group right here, Marshawn Lloyd, Ty Chandler, Rigo Dowdle. I had those three guys right there lined up, ready to go. And here's what kept me from taking Marshawn Lloyd after Dowdle was picked
The
was I
other
was like,
74
yeah,
Green Bay Packers you have currently on your
exactly. I
team.
gotta chill out with the Packers. Honestly, I felt like out of the two, right? Because both those guys are in backup roles. So out of the two, I felt like Chandler would have more opportunity to get on the field with an older Jones than Lloyd would with the Josh Jacobs that they're bringing in to be the bell cow. So that was my thought process there. Whether or not that's right and ends up being right, who knows? But that's where my head was in that particular thing. And Gator, could I ask you a favor to scooch up that
Yep.
board just a bit?
I just
Thank
looking at that, and I'm fixing to do that right now, and we'll get this
you.
board up here. Actually, let me fill this whole thing out here.
Guys, we're moving really well here. We're at just over an hour, and we're going into the 15th round. Not bad,
Mhm.
not bad, my friends.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Gator, do me a fave. How many people are watching our stream right now?
Like 120,
120. And how many more do we need to hit 1,000 subscribers?
60.
Well, obviously, there's enough people listening to our show streaming right now to go hit that subscribe button and get us over 1,000. So, guys, if you haven't subscribed already, you absolutely need to do that. Like, subscribe, get all of our info for when we're doing these drafts every week.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
What are we
Stacy, as soon as you make this pick here, you're on the clock. So here's what I want to do. Looking at we've talked about this on other streams. We haven't talked about it tonight in the sense of with the FFPC, this being a quite a bit different draft. How are you in your mind sitting down prior to the draft? However you do this, how do you allocate roster spots in a 20-man Superflex format?
Yeah, so I think you just really have to decide, okay, going into this, like what emphasis do I want to put on each position, right? So, and a lot of that too, you can't necessarily do before you get started because a lot of these are random draft orders. You don't know where you're going to be drafting.
Mhm.
But let's say that I always like to say, and not necessarily for every single one, but there are builds that I have in my head that like, look, if it falls in the right draft position, I want to do a certain build like this. I want to do a certain build where I've got this stack. I want to try to see and make that work. And if you're doing enough of these drafts, that's how you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, like what have I done? What haven't I done? What exposures do I need to get? Who do I have too much of? So I think, if you're sitting down, you're thinking, all right, look, this is super flex. Maybe I'm at the end here. Maybe I need to go for quarterback, right? Because maybe I've missed out on some of those elite guys. So I'm going to have to make up those points with some guys further down, right? So maybe that's where the bulk of your talent is. Your bulk of your talent is going to go, let's say in this example here, to your quarterbacks. You're a little top heavy there. So you're going to end up probably having to sacrifice at the other positions because you've got to take those. So, I mean, I hate to do the lawyer answer and say it depends, but it really just depends
Mhm.
on, I think, where you end up in the draft. And like I said, we've talked about, don't go get, the FOMO, don't get pulled into feeling like you're being forced to take a position just because everybody else is doing that too. But you just kind of have to like keep in mind like balance, right? Do what you want to do, go in with a plan. But be mindful of taking what the draft gives you because if there's value when it comes to you, you don't want to miss that value. You don't want to pass up on something just because you're so stuck on the plan that you had walking into it. So I guess, this kind of sounds like it's, not really meshing and jiving there, but make a plan, but also be flexible with what you're doing. So I guess to answer your question, I did not answer your question, but how many roster spots do you allocate to every position? I think it just depends on what build you're doing and where you end up. So if you are at the end, maybe you are taking 4 quarterbacks, right? And that's how you're going to have to allocate at that point. If it's a 20-person draft, if it's an 18-person draft, what does that look like in each thing? Are you starting 2 wide receivers? Are you starting 3 wide receivers? Is it a tight end premium? Do you want to try to grab more tight ends to kind of, max out the opportunities you have to get those extra points? Go grab 4 tight ends. There's nothing wrong with doing that at all. Probably don't grab 1 tight end, but definitely get at least a couple more than that. But that's what I'd say. It just really kind of depends on what it is that you're looking at with your draft. So when you're talking about, okay, there's so many different builds that you can do, especially in Superflex, that you just kind of want to, like I said, kind of take what the draft. I hate saying it. I feel like I said it like 1,000 times, but like, just being aware of what's out there and kind of staying the course of what you want to do. And keep in mind too, like if we're talking about quarterbacks a lot, and those are a lot of my examples because this is a super flex. But if you miss out on some of those top quarterbacks, like you can wait a little bit. There's still tremendous value later on in the draft. Like, look, Gardner Minshew is probably going to start majority of those games. And it may be ugly, but he's still going to get points. So same with Geno Smith, Derek Carr, they're not going to be the prettiest games ever, but they're still going to put up points for you. So, you don't have to watch their games.
Yeah, you bring up a great point there at the end, but you could throw in quarterbacks like Bo Nix,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
The numbers aren't going to be great probably, but as a plug-in for a bye week, or even as a wide receiver, or I'm sorry, a quarterback too at times. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, you're coming up on the clock here. Don't want you to give it away, but I do want to hear your draft strategy after going Spencer Rattler. So you are on the clock now. Rashad Bateman, surprisingly, just now going off the board in round 16.
I didn't know Rashad Bateman was still in the league. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Rude.
No, I'm not
So
kidding.
rude.
Never been a Rashad Bateman fan. All right. I've got five receivers. I've got four running backs. We are in a 20-person draft here. Let's take a look. Oh gosh, it's getting like slim pickings here. That is for sure. And I've got 19 seconds on the board, so I need to make a decision. So this is me talking through my pick there, Gator. Did you like that?
Yes.
I'm gonna take Ricky Pearsall.
Listen, you didn't say one single player's name. That's exactly how you do it. That's exactly how you talk through that.
Oh my goodness.
We'll
I've
get
got
back.
Ricky Pearsall there. Yeah.
I'll let you talk about Ricky Pearsall here in just a second. I
Yeah.
want to get everybody caught up real quick. So I believe I got through round 13. So round 14, Josh Dobbs, Kendre Miller, Chuba Hubbard, J.K. Dobbins, Jacoby Myers. Surprising that he was still on the board there in the 14th. Xavier Legette, Ben Sanat, Jonnu Smith, Rico Dow, Ty Chandler, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright out of Miami, going into Miami now, and 74 other running backs down there. So round 15, Jerry Jeudy, surprising still on the board there. Josh Palmer, I think, is probably another one of these guys that is super, super high sought after late in these best ball drafts. Spencer Rattler, Roshan Johnson, Antonio Gibson. Surprising that he's still on the board. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity up there in New England, especially with a rookie quarterback. He's going to be relied upon a good bit. Quentin Johnston, Troy Franklin, Rashid Shaheed, Michael Wilson, Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney, Gabe Davis, the aforementioned Gabe, Spike Week Davis, Greg Dolch, Malachi Corley, Kamani Vidal, Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Algier, Jalen McLaughlin, Michael Mayer, Ray Davis, Rashad Bateman, Ricky Pearsall for yourself, Khalil Herbert, and Chig Okonkwo landing, finishing up the 16th round. So let's talk about this Ricky Pearsall pick. He's probably going to be fourth in line there, maybe fifth in line there in San Francisco. Complete dart throw.
Yeah, total dart throw. I really did think something was going to happen with Ayuk pre-draft or like day of draft or something, but obviously that didn't happen. So now I'm kind of wondering if anything's going to happen at all. But we've got Ricky Pearsall. He plays for the 49ers. I've got Brock Purdy. I've got George Kittle. So, at some point, if Brock Purdy throws to Ricky Pearsall, I'm going to max out my points there. So, when you're looking at going to grab guys, towards the end of the draft, kind of make it, fit in with what you're doing, what you've done at the, the work that you put in at the top half, right? Kind of make it make sense, fill in those spots, go down your depth charts, say, okay, look, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of handcuffing, but if you've got something that, maybe you have somebody who's an injury away from a starting role, why not grab that? Like, God forbid if, something does happen with Ayuk or Debo, they get, traded. Ricky Pearsall would stand in line to inherit probably a few more targets, at the very least. And then, man, I got to tell you, today's the second time that I've taken Spencer Rattler in a draft, Gator, and I just hate it so much. I did that to myself though, right? I waited so long on my third quarterback that that's what was left.
Yeah.
So, my other draft was in a dynasty startup. So, oh, it's not no, it's not a startup. Just the regular dynasty one that I'm doing with Tyler and Chris. From 365, we ended up with Spencer Rattler. And if it's bad, that's Tyler's fault because he said to draft him. So,
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be bad.
yeah,
That may be
it's
maybe a
probably
little
Tyler.
bit like the um what's his name that landed in Atlanta. That's at pick number 8. That's how bad
Yeah.
that pick was. I've already forgotten his
An
name.
injury away. Michael Blank, injury away. Like, what if Kirk Cousins has a setback with his recovery?
Hmm.
I mean, there's so many different things that could happen, throughout the year. I mean, I heard a stat the other day on a podcast, and I forgot exactly the exact number, but they were saying, like, here's the number of quarterbacks that started games last year, and it was the highest number that it has ever been. So I mean, I think that just goes to show you that it can really be anybody when you're talking about like a deeper draft like this, a deeper league, 20 rounds, best ball, super flex. Like, you're literally taking every single quarterback that's, still playing football. And there's probably some out there that are not currently playing football that are going to end up starting that we don't even know about yet.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't know about that. That's a reach, Gator. Even Zach Wilson, that's a reach.
Thanks.
And I had lots of fun with you too.
Yes.
Drafting. Thank you for coming and drafting with us. Always appreciate you. Have a good time. In drafts that I am in with you. So thank you, Anne. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I wanted to thank everybody that not only in the chat but also that drafted with us tonight. It's been a fun draft. I had to actually take the draft room chat board off so I could at least kind of concentrate and see who was coming off the board
Yeah.
because that chat what they need to do is get everybody that's in that chat and that's in this draft and just put that as a Twitter chat room just so they can
Yes.
talk because what a great conversation. Maybe not rated for TV.
Yeah. Not
But
safe for work. Yeah. Definitely not safe
yes,
for work. But that's okay.
right. Yes, it was absolutely fun. It was
Yeah.
absolutely a fun time.
Oh, Sean,
Um,
we're glad you could get into. Glad you could draft with us tonight.
yep.
Like I said, everybody, man, this has been so great.
Well, Stacy, I brought it up earlier, and you're going to be coming up on the clock here. We got three more picks here, so we're coming
Mhm.
through the 18th round. We got 19 and 20.
Ooh,
We talked about this earlier. Next Wednesday, we will get the NFL schedule, so we won't have to worry about the bye weeks and all that. But as we stand right now, we don't have the schedules. We don't have the bye weeks. How
mm-mm.
do you try to predict end of season matchups based on it's typically week 17. It's usually it's inter division rivals.
Yeah.
How do you try to predict those matchups and going towards the end of the year?
So I thought about that. I actually had a conversation with somebody a few weeks ago, and we're thinking, okay, like, how we can't do correlation yet with these best ball drafts, because the schedule's not out yet. But is there a way to kind of get ahead of it a little bit? Maybe try to galaxy brain a little bit and say like, oh, okay, well, the Packers usually play, the Bears at the end of the season, something like that, and kind of try to guess or predict or build a stack based on something like that. Um, Man, if I had time to get that far in the weeds, Gator, I would not have a day job, because I would, my goodness, I would have gotten fired by that point.
But you
But
work for yourself, so you can't fire
I
yourself, so
do,
that's
so I
fine.
can't fire myself. But man, if I did not have a day job, I probably could spend that much time,
And you are on the clock, by the way.
mapping it out. I am on the clock. Ooh, there's two receivers that I really like here. I'm gonna go with the one that Demario Douglas.
Okay.
Come on down. Yeah, I mean, listen, as long as I gotta work during the day, it ain't happening. But if you've got time to really think that through, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to predict that because guess what? Like, you are gonna have those interdivision matchups at the end of the season. That's how the schedule always looks. So even if you try to guess and say, okay, let's see if it's the Packers and the Vikings, or the Lions and the Vikings, or something like that, or a Bears Packers matchup. I'm only using the NFC North because that's immediately my brain of like all the different interdivision rivalries. But you have the chance to probably get it right at least maybe in a couple weeks because you've got if you're planning for the playoffs, you've got several weeks there to try to make that happen.
Yeah, I think that's something we can look at and look at the history, over the last 4, 5, 6 years of what the NFL's done, and you can use that for bye weeks as well. Because usually you will see like the NFC South, which is the one that I gravitate towards with me being a Bucks fan, is usually
Mm,
Tampa, Carolina.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's been that way, and
Mhm.
now and then there's been years where it was Tampa and New Orleans. But looking at last year and what the Falcons have done now, just trying to galaxy brain this, the NFL going, okay, Tampa's won the division 3 times in a row, but everybody thinks that now it's going to be the Falcons. Maybe that's the divisional matchup at the end of the year. The other side of that coin is they'll probably be on the same bye week as well.
Right, right. That might happen to you. But like that's how it works sometimes when you're drafting before the schedules come out. Inevitably you'll draft some guys that end up on the same bye weeks. And honestly, like I don't really pay too much attention to bye weeks when I'm drafting. Even when they are out, that's not something that I am making a priority for me. I'll try to be aware of it, but it's not something that's like front of my mind saying, "Oh, I have to draft around everybody's bye weeks." That's definitely not something that I'm doing.
And that's fair. Usually the bye weeks are what, between week 4 and 14, some 13,
Always I
some.
was gonna say 13, 14, it always ends up being, like, the really good teams with the great offenses are always towards the end, and I swear there's, like, gotta be some conspiracy out there that whoever does the NFL schedule hates fantasy football and does that just to get at the fantasy football managers. Um, that's gonna be my little tinfoil conspiracy that I'm
There
gonna
you
go
go.
with.
There you go. Let me read off round 17, 18. And like I said, we are halfway through round 19. So I may get round 19 and then we'll talk again about round 20. Then we had Mike Gesicki, Roman Wilson, Dawson Knox, Marvin Mims, which somehow did not make it on the Stacy's team. I don't
Nope,
know how that happened.
nope.
Off the Marvin Mims train this year. Okay, fine.
That's that's
Jermaine
how that's how I'm gonna ensure that he does well, is that
Okay.
I am off the Marvin Mims train. So go and flourish in your sophomore season, Marvin.
Stacy, I will not hold you down any longer, Marvin Mims.
I won't.
Boo, boo. Jermaine Burton, Adam Thielen, Tucker Kraft, Jalen Polk, Eric All, Wandale Robinson, Tyrone Tracy, which again, could be really, really sneaky up there in New
Yeah.
York. Tyrone Tracy, keep an eye on that guy.
I was seeing some tweets about him earlier today. So
Well,
he was one that I had on my radar as well.
yeah, that's a guy that just the landing spot. Truly, truly. I
Yeah.
know. Singletary is there, but listen, this kid could actually do something with that landing spot.
Oh,
Jelani
yeah.
Woods to round out the 17th round. Malik Washington going to Miami. Miami definitely has a type. We talked about this last night on Mucking with the Stars with myself and Chris Battistell, and then Shane Manila. Miami definitely has a type, and it's if you have speed, you are on our team. Period. The end. I don't care what else you have. You can be on our team. Bucky Irvin, Tyler Boyd, who got a gig today, by the way. Tyler Boyd got a
Yeah.
gig going to Tennessee, so
Nice.
I like that landing spot for him, or at least paycheck for him, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not quite sure who the Andre Lovis is, to be quite honest.
Oh,
Don't
that's Andre Yoshivas, sir. Andre, don't throw some respect on that name.
Okay.
Princeton grad.
Is that the new quarterback in Seattle? I don't.
No, Andre Yeshivas, Princeton grad from last year. He
Okay.
is a decathlete. That is the 10 track field events. I know a lot about Andre Yeshivas.
Yes, I do remember this conversation now.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember
oh
yes. Oh, and here we go. I have done started
yeah.
a war. Charlene, I'm gonna have to go put the shutters in so Charlene's not gonna be throwing
Mhm.
knives at me now. Will Shipley
Charlene knows
Keaton
what's
and
up.
Javante.
Charlene knows what's up.
Yeah, Charlene.
That's
Charlene.
right. Big sleeper, Charlene. Andre, don't tell
Mm,
anybody, Charlene. They're all gonna
that's
keep drafting him now.
Yep, that's right. Don't be spreading the word. Luke McCaffrey,
Keep
AJ
telling
Dillon,
them.
Demario Douglas, Daniel Bellinger, Michael Penix. That's the name I was
There you go.
slipping on earlier. Right there in Atlanta. Darren Waller,
Mm-hmm.
Audric Estime, Aiden O'Connell, Jameis Winston, another, okay.
Yes.
Can't hate it in this format. Demarcus Robinson, DJ Chark, got him a gig now. Odell
Mhm.
Beckham, another guy in Miami. Theo
Yeah.
Johnson, Sam Darnold, the aforementioned Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
You went with Aiden O'Connell, but okay, fine. Sam Darnold was on the board still. Zach Ertz, Rondale Moore, Sam Howell,
Mhm.
new backup quarterback up there in the Seattle. And then coming through this 20th round right here, these are just straight dart throws. Braylon Allen with the Jets, Luke Farrell, Tank Bigsby in Jacksonville, Deontay Foreman, A.T. Perry.
Mm.
You got 4 picks before you are on the clock here.
I've
What are
got
you thinking with this big 20th round? Let's end this on a bang
um,
pick.
I probably should go with a running back, considering that I only took 4 running backs, Gator. So I should probably go with a running back here. Although I have a receiver on my list that if all my running backs get sniped from me, I'm just gonna say, to hell with it and grab this receiver, which I think you'll actually appreciate if it works to it. Um,
There's one receiver on my in. Yep, he just went.
oh, he just went.
Yep.
Yes.
I was as I'm reading the draft, I'm like, I can't believe Jalen McMillan is still on the board.
I think Jalen McMillan might end up being the steal of this draft in the 20th round.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that could happen. He could end up being the steal of this draft in the 20th round.
Yeah.
For sure. Faux show. Well,
I don't
Anne,
hate
don't snipe me. Don't you do it again, Anne. I got to tell you, she did not. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm gonna grab somebody that I just admittedly don't know a ton about, but have seen this guy getting drafted by a lot of people that are much smarter than I am. So I'm gonna grab Rasheen
There you
Ali.
go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Great landing spot for him.
I took
Up
Darnell
there in
Washington.
Baltimore.
No, team number 2 just took Darnell
Oh,
Washington.
Darnell Washington. I'm like, okay, I thought
They
you were
must,
saying he
they
landed in.
they must know my affinity for Darnell Washington.
Yes. Well, you like big hands. That's
That's
what I
great.
heard. Stacy, just for the people, real quickly, I know this was last year, and we had fun with this last year. But how big are Darnell Washington's hands?
They're 11 inches, which just to give you guys some clarity out there, because men lie about, inches all the time. 11 inches, Gator, is the size of a sheet of paper. So if you take a sheet of paper like so, right? That man's hands are essentially the size of this sheet of paper. So I'm just saying, great to catch a football. I don't know why they're not throwing to him more often.
Well, they didn't
His
have a
hands look
quarterback
like
they could throw. They didn't have a quarterback that could throw the ball. Hell, their
that's
quarterback had to put gloves on to get 9 inches, but that's, whatever.
and on
Let's
that
finish off
note,
this draft with A.T. Perry, Jacoby Brissett, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen McMillan, which, again, like Stacy, I agree 100%. Very, very good possibility. Steal of the draft right there. Treylon Burks, Rasheen Ali. Again, what I started to say with him was, with him in Baltimore, Derrick Henry seems to be basically the only stone that's in front of him. Yes, they've got what's his name still there, and he showed up pretty good last year. But
yes. I mean, they
Rasheen
go through running
Ali,
backs like tissue, like the two of us with our sinuses have gone through tissues this week.
yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes. Then Darnell Washington, and then auto picked here, but Damian Pierce, and somebody that I was really really high on last year. And I like throwing that dart throw out there. I just think that he could very possibly end up on another team before week 7 or so.
I don't think you're wrong. I definitely don't think you're wrong. Definite possibility there. And for a last pick, I mean, that's, he's a guy that's going to get some playing time somewhere.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Which is
Yeah,
what you want, 20th round. That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for guys that are going to win you your league right now. Okay, like you're looking for some to fill in on your bye weeks, which is perfectly fine.
Stacy, we've gone through basically, we're knocking on the door of 90 minutes here. So I want to get off here
Yeah.
very, very shortly, but I do want to just look at your team
Yes.
as it sits. CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Spencer Rattler and then Aiden O'Connell are your 4 quarterbacks. Understand, normally it's a probably a 3 quarterback build for you, but leaving that third quarterback being Spencer Rattler, I don't hate going and grabbing Aiden O'Connell just as a backup, just in case.
Yeah, I paid for that totally. And that's I think the thing that I would do differently. If I was to redo this, is I would probably just suck it up and go a little bit earlier with my third. But I've got 2 studs in CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy. At the end of the day, for the majority of the season, it's going to be those 2. In my quarterback and my super flex spot, unless something disastrous happens. And if something bad happens to either one of those guys, honestly, this whole team's dead anyway. So,
Yeah, and then you go and look at your running backs: Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, Trey Benson, Ty Chandler, and then ending it out with Rashina Lee in the 20th round there. Don't hate those. Don't hate them. Again, this is super flex. You only have to start 2 of them. One of them go to the flex, but you're starting 2 of them each week.
Yeah, only got to start 2 of them.
Then you have Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jamison Williams, Devontae Wicks, Ricky Pearsall, Demario Douglas. I think the Jamison Williams, Devontavion Wicks, and Demario Douglas picks. Those 3 are just prime best ball picks here.
Oh, well, so speaking of Demario Douglas, I took Demario Douglas in several best balls around this time last year, and he was totally being slept on. And get it. Look, guys, I get it. New England's going to be a bad offense. Drake May's got to throw to somebody. Either him or Jacoby Brissett's got to throw to somebody. And I mean, Demario was just an absolute pro coming out, beloved by all the vets on that team, really worked hard to get on the field, to get up to speed with that offense. So I get it. I know they drafted a couple guys, to surround, May with in the draft. I don't think that means that Demario Douglas is dead. So that being said, that's why. I mean, I just thought they're in the 18th round. I mean, I think that's tremendous value.
Yes. Yeah. And then you got, of course, Sam Laporta, Kittle, K. Dotton, and Dawson Knox there to round out your tight end room. You're feeling pretty good about the tight end room. That you're feeling good about the tight end room, and you're feeling really good about your quarterback room. It's the running backs and the wide receivers that you're like,
well, yeah. So definitely not the receiver groups that I normally go after. But again, you're only going to start, you've got to start 2 of them. And then you have your flex spots. So, I mean, who's to say that I end up even having to start more than 2 receivers? And in that situation, I've got Jaden Reed, I've got Nico, Zay Flowers, these are all guys that can put up a tremendous amount of points at any given week, so it's a little different than a normal build than I like to do, but that's the fun of these things is getting out there and trying different builds. We talk about that every week. You're doing so many of these throughout the off season. You want to do stuff that's a little bit different. So yeah, it's a good time,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We will
Stop that, Sean. We're gonna throw it to Mario Douglas.
We will be doing more and more of these. I think we've got at least one more on our schedule set for the FFPC later on this summer. So again,
do it when things have changed a little bit, not quite, back to back. That way we can see the changes in ADP and what things look like at different parts of the off season.
Yep. And before you and I get off, I've got something I want to put in your ear after we close out tonight. Just don't let me forget that I wanted to do that. So if you haven't already, go hit that subscribe button for us. Hit the like button. The only reason we can do this and be successful is by you guys showing us the love that, yes, we're giving you the product and giving you the content that you want. Again, we've said this multiple weeks in a row. My DMs are open. Stacy's DMs are open. Do not hesitate. If there's a platform out there or a certain best ball that you want to do, and you want us to lead the charge in that, do not hesitate. DM one of us. DM Club Fantasy. Whichever way works out best for you. But let us know that way we can make sure we're getting the not only the tournaments, but the content that you want, and making you the happy camper that you should be, that you deserve to be. Next week, what are we dipping our toes into next week, Stacy?
We're heading on over to DraftKings. We're going to jump into one of their best balls. I know that they've got some that they've recently put out. So we're gonna take a dip over into the DraftKings streets.
I don't think I have ever drafted on DraftKings.
I've only done it a few times, a handful of times.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I know there's a lot of people out there that are super into DraftKings.
Yes.
So if you're listening, that's you. Be on the lookout. Hopefully you can jump in and draft with us. I think there's a little bit more like Underdog, where you're just thrown in with a random group of people as soon as you join. But hopefully you can draft with us next week.
Yes, and we will look a little bit into that over the next couple of days and see if we can find a tournament kind of like what we did tonight, if that's even possible. And if not, then we will do like we have done on Underdog and jump in a tournament and go.
Oh yeah, we're doing more of these. We're doing more of these. And also too, we could possibly be talked into doing one of the 125 FFPC tournaments. So if there's anybody out there who wants to throw down with one of those, let us know. Let us know. I could be tempted. So
completely up to the people, right, Stace? Completely up to the people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next week we are jumping into DraftKings, but don't you worry, Club Fantasy FFL has you covered all week long. Tuesday night, of course, with us right here, Masterclass. Normally we go at 8:30, and more than likely we'll be back to 8:30 next week. Tomorrow morning you will have Who's Your Caddy, the Golf DFS. Wednesday, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., the flagship of Club Fantasy FFL, no pun intended. Then Saturday, it gets busy Saturday. Mock It Like It's Hot, 11 a.m. Show is absolutely banging. Dynasty After Party, 11 a.m. on Sunday. That show is absolutely popping. Dynasty questions, trades. They are doing a trade show this week. So if you've seen trades in your leagues, they are popping on these trades. Go over to Club Fantasy FFL on Twitter. There's an actual link on there. You can put your trades in there. I'm sorry, a post on there that you can put your trades in. And if you don't want to put your trades in, both of the host and co-host on that show are linked into there. And their DMs are open, so you can send your trade directly to their DMs as well without a single problem. And then next Monday is another show that I am on, Mocking with the Stars, 10 p.m. And next week, Stacy, me and Chris Battlestyle are doing a one quarterback.
Yes.
A one quarterback rookie mock. And you won't guess who we have coming on.
Who?
Pat Fitzmaurice.
No
from
way.
Stacy Perez. Yes, ma'am.
The original Kamani Vidal hype man.
Yes.
You took Kamani Vidal in any of your drafts, it's because Pat Fitzmaurice was on him first. So don't let anybody tell you different.
That's right. That's right. But Stacy, let the people know where they can find you, what you're working on.
I am over at Stacy_Perez 83 on the Twitter machine. I am coming up with a calendar for drafts for you guys for the entire off season. Guys, so get ready. Schedule is dropping. I have a feeling that once that schedule drops, we are going to have an uptick in these. So, I think we're going to be drafting with a lot of our listeners this off season. And guys, remember, like I said, if there's something that you want to draft, let us know. We are more than happy to make that happen for you.
Absolutely. And you can find me over at FantasyJ77 on Twitter. Like I said earlier, both of our DMs are open. If you have any questions, you want certain content, whatever, certain drafts, do not hesitate. Shoot us a DM, and we will definitely be responding to you. Hey, guys, until next time, we'll see you.